REA just hosted their monthly vintage auction, and featured in today's top 25 video is going to be multiple Ty Cobb T206 sales, as well as a bunch of rare polar bear St. Louis variants. If you're familiar with the T206 set, these can be pretty tough and fetch a hefty premium. There's a bunch of other cards as well, and we'll take a look at a few honorable mentions at the very end. So let's take a look at the results from the recent REA auction. All right, so let's start off with our top 25. It's going to actually start on the second page, so I'm going to put that there. I'm going to go to our first page, and this is a 1936 Jesse Owens on the podium for the long jump. Kind of a tougher Owens card to find, in my personal opinion, compared to some of his other 36s. This one in a 6 sold slightly under $4,000, a total of $3,840. Now let's jump into our true top 25, and we're going to start off with a 1953 Glendale Meats, and take a look at this set over here. I don't believe there's anyone super expensive in this card, although it is a tougher issue. The reason is 54 has a K line, not Glendale Meats, but just in general for Tigers cards, and this set was printed in 53, so 1 year before, unfortunately. And yeah, I mean, it's a low grade set, right? But these are a food issue, which typically you don't see these in high grade. You can see there is some nice ones, a 3.5 as well as a 4.5 over here. And this set sold for $4,200. Now, we're going to jump into the 1952 Bowman Mickey Mantle. What I will say too is I bet you if there was an Al K-line rookie in this set, now the K-line would probably be a $10,000 card. Could be wrong, but it's hard to say. Now, we have a 52 Bowman Mantle SGC4. It's older label. You can tell it's a little bit of a rougher 4. This one sold for $4,320. Up next, we have a T206 St. Louis variation of REA, Demet, and lots of creases on this card, but it is one of the tougher cards to find. And the St. Louis variations, I believe, are only with the polar bear backs, if I remember correctly. Obviously, I'm not a full expert at T206 cards, but I know enough to get by. This copy over here sold for $4,320. This is a pretty fun Old Judge card. Old Judge has some interesting cards out in the 1880s. This one is the mascot over here, Owens, which is a Hall of Famer. One of your classic poses in this set, and it sold for $4,440. Not bad for the imagery on this side of things. I know a lot of people pay based off of the tone. And also what I will say is this is like a super rough cut. You can see like it goes down crooked and then goes straight. Same with the other side. Super rough cut. Clean otherwise. I'm curious what this would have gotten if it had a normal cut. And you can see in the back. Straight cut, right? It's just so bizarre. But it does happen, right? Okay, we're going to jump into a 1986 Fleer of Michael Jordan in 8 OC. So this is equivalent to about a 6. And this got a final price of $4,560. All right, so we have a Ty Cobb bat on shoulder for MK. Over here, sold slightly under $5,000. And let's take a look where the mark is on here. Probably somewhere here on the back. Although it is tough to tell. I'm going to record these videos just because I have lights on to each side of me. I'm looking at the screen, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Either way, usually when you see MK on T206, it's usually a stamp of some sort. We have another Ty Cobb over here. This got a 2, super old cert. There's like a scratch on the slab. Sweet cap roll back with an overprint. This sold for $5,160. Jumping into a red Cobb, man, 3 Cobbs in a row. And sweet cap roll. $354.60. This sold for $5,280. Some staining on this as well, and a little bit of a rougher corner on that side of things. All right, we are jumping into a Mantle rookie, and this got a 1 Look at that. It's terribly miscut. You can see over here we have that on this side of things and barely has the border over there. This did go significantly cheaper than what most of the ones do. Oh, well, that explains a lot. I thought at first it was just a miscut. I did not think of the paper loss on the back. This was affixed to an album of some sorts. You can see lots and lots of paper loss, and that's why it sold for $6,000. I'm like, normally, even like this, I know it's terrible centering, is it being miscut. Well, like, man, $6,000 is a steal for this card. And well, that makes sense because of the paper loss on the back. Although it does have pretty good eye appeal on the front, even though it does have its centering issues. Like, it looks sharp. I'm kind of shocked it also got a 1 because of that. All right, a T216 cotton. You don't see these that often. And Nap Lajoie in a 1, $5,760. I wonder if it talks about the pop on here. Does not. That's the one thing. I wish they put the pops in here, kind of like how Heritage does. And includes buyer's premium. So I know when we did the first REA video, they forgot to put the buyer's premium in the final prices when we recorded it, but regardless. We have a T206 Cobb in a green over here, sold for $6,000. The most popular of the 4 Cobb images out there. I believe there's actually less than these in the pops. I do disagree with this 2 grade, just because of the big crease on it. Probably should have gotten 1.5, but regardless, still sold for that $6,000 threshold. Sisler, that's his first card, but this is a green Joyce, which is a tougher back on here, and that font, man, reminiscent of Comic Sans. I know it's not Comic Sans, but I don't know why that was my first thought. Just looking at this one, kind of gives me Comic Sans vibes. This one sold for $6,300. There's like 20 different backs for these 1916 M101s. So I don't know how tough this specific back is. I'm sure it probably talks about it over here. Today, only 66 examples of green Joyce back of all players have been graded by SGC. There you go. Old cardboard M104 pops. Most difficult to find. So there you go. And $6,300 on that copy. We have an E90 Cobb in a 3. This sold for $6,900. Taking a look at that one over here. And then we have another St. Louis variation on here. Bill O'Hara. And yeah, Polar Bear. And it mentions it over here. Polar Bear is the only company to issue this variation. There you go. So I was right when I mentioned a little bit earlier. It only impacts those. All right. O-Pee-Chee, Wayne Gretzky, rookie in an 8. And this one sold for $8,700. I do like when they have the fuzzy borders on them. I know it's controversial, but I kind of like those. That side of things. And then we also have a 57 Mantel in an 8. How's the centering on these? This is actually not too bad centering. I know it's a little bit off, but these 57s are notorious to have pretty terrible centering. This one sold for $9,000. And jump into a 1953 Bowman Color of Stan Musial in a 9. This sold for $9,000. Look at that here. All right, this one got a 2, and it came back at a final price of $9,300. Staining, which is common with Polar Bear backs. You typically see those quite a bit. T206 Cobb Red, $354.60 over here. This one sold for $9,300. Another Ty Cobb. Tons of Ty Cobb T206s also in this auction. 4 Polar Bear Bat Off Shoulder, $9,300. That side of things. And we're jumping into the top 4 sales. 1972 Icy Bear, number 8 PSA set registry, 9 overall. 9.14 GP, I should say. And this one sold for slightly under $10,000. Take a look. Oscar 9, Kareem 9, Jerry West 9, Pete 9, Wilt 9. So that's pretty nice on that side of things. there has to be at least a few 10s, and you can see the 10s here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 10s. Everything else is a 9. Nice set. 1916 M101 of Tycob in a 3.5. This sold for $10,500. The Sporting News back on this side of things. Then we jump into an 86 Fleer set in a PSA 8 grade, which includes the number 57 Michael Jordan. This sold for $13,800. And the most expensive sale for this REA auction is a 1960 Mantel 8.5 going into either like a Mantel registry or a 60 registry. This sold for $27,600. Like what I always want to do, let's take a look at a few honorable mentions. We'll look at like a few pages, stuff like that, see if anything really stands out on this side of things. Victory Tobacco, we don't see those that often. I'll pull that one up for you guys. There looks like there's a decent amount of Owens card over here. Ty Cobb original painting, that's kind of cool. Rolling's glove box of Mickey Mantle. And I might make my 60s video once I start that. Obviously, when I'm recording this right now, I haven't published my 1950s video or 40s, but I'm making a decades baseball series right now. So Dizzy Dean in a 5. Feels a little cheap on that. Go continue forward. Home Run Derby. A gray back over here, Pete Reiser. Talked about this in the 50s video. This sold for $17.40. Let me look at see if there's any non-sports. So we'll go back over filters. Go to non-sports. See what's over here. But just show you this Victory. I never see these at auctions. So take a look at that back over here. These are should be, as I mentioned, 1915. These are really tough. I mean, Mickey Doolin. Imagine if you had a bigger player, how much that would go for. Mickey Doolin sells for $3,400 in A1. And they kind of have that coupon finish where they look a little bit off. But what I want to do, let's take a look at this. So a 6 of Walt, $660. Seems about where market is on that. An F1 driver, which I'm surprised that made non-sports side of things. Let's see if there's anything else. This is interesting. A 5-card lot of Superman. These are probably anywhere like $20 to $30 a piece when I've sold them. Lower grades. That's way cheaper, obviously. They all have creases and stuff like that. It looks like it has handwriting on it. So the only mention I would say if these are high numbers, but they are not high numbers. The last 12 in this set are considered high numbers, and they all have a big premium to them. So probably about market rate on this. It does seem cheap, right? $114, but like if you look at the conditions on those. And that is the non-sports side of things. I guess there's one more page. 85, 87 garbage pails, 7 complete trio sets sold for $90. That seems very cheap. Some packs, and I think that's essentially it for this video. Hope you guys did enjoy this video, and make sure to subscribe if you're brand new. There's like 3 auctions that ended this weekend, so got to record all of them, put them out, and they'll be on the channel pretty soon. So make sure to check those out, heritage as well as vintage non-sports auctions, and see you in another video.